Hey, welcome to Big Ideas, the podcast where three co hosts rotate roles to explore real conversations, meaningful ideas, and the decisions that shape our lives. This week, I'll be leading the conversation. I'm the host. We have a tradition here to share each person's POV. And by the way, I am Mark Steiner, in case you didn't know it. I'm a founder, a
The one and only.
I'm the one and only Mark Steiner, as a matter of fact. You can look it up. There's actually a lot of Mark Steiners out there. Anyway, I'm the Mark Steiner that's an actor, CEO, founder, and now a podcaster, having the time of my life. And tonight I'm playing the role of host, and I'm sitting in Springfield, Mo, in my office on Olive Street. And it's been a long day. It's been a good day. It's been a productive day, and I'm super happy. I am having the time of my life, folks. I am extremely content, and that's me today. But filling in where you are, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Jessica Broadway and Justin Gabassi. Jessica tonight is playing the role of color commentator. And Jessica, why don't you tell us what your POV?
Well, my POV is 3 days deep into snow days and AMI school. So for those of you who don't know what AMI is, it's the cut around so that we can still count our school days and the kids get little packets of homework that they get to do. And somewhere in between working and balancing motherhood and making sure everybody did their schoolwork and making 3 meals a day, I'm super excited to be here with you guys. So a little long for the wear, as they say, but I really, what came home to me this week was that it's not so much about what you want to do. It's about having the ability to do what you need to do. And really that's all that matters. And so I was really blessed this week that I've been able to build a life that allows me to be home on snow days and to be with my kids. And that was really fulfilling. And I told myself that lots of times as the irritations and the, stagnant of sitting in the chairs and what do they call that? When you're like stuck inside, you get all stale and you need to get out and move around.
Cabin fever.
Cabin fever. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just cabin fever. So we put the home gym and the aerial swing in the garage to good use this week. We were literally swinging from the rafters. So
yeah.
Well, of course, Jessica, you're a coach, you're a speaker, you're an author who works with leaders, entrepreneurs, and individuals navigating seasons of change. And I am so glad to be co-host with you and doing this podcast with you.
It's so much fun getting to collaborate with you guys, and I'm so excited for tonight's topic. Can't wait.
Yes. And then there's Justin Gabassi. He's a human optimization coach, a professional touring musician, and who's currently traveling the world, studying how health, culture, and human connection intersect across different societies. Justin, what's your POV this evening?
Well, you said this evening, and for me, it's the morning. It's
That's
about
right.
8 a.m. It's a little after 8 a.m. I am in Koh Phangan, Thailand right now. Just getting the day started. Jessica, you were talking about snow days, and I actually, I don't know if you could tell, but I got a little sunburned yesterday riding a scooter around the island. So,
wow. Oh, so tough.
I know. But
yeah, go ahead.
The shoveling the driveway just doesn't.
I know how it is. This is my first time away from a Midwest winter. Like my whole life. So it's been intentionally so, you know what I mean? So I feel you. I feel for you. Yeah.
It's good.
Well, Justin is what we're calling, he's in the hot seat tonight. He's our featured guest, and he's chosen a topic that is directly correlated to exactly what he's doing, and that is traveling the world. And we want to hear what happens when you sell everything, put your life in a backpack, and leave everything familiar behind to set out to learn about the world. And Justin, my first question for you would be, why in the world did you choose to do this? What kind of crazy are you?
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. I think I touched on this a little bit, maybe in the origins story episode, the very first one. But having done kind of two things my whole life, which is basically health and wellness and music, the last 5 to 10 years, I've really noticed sort of a decline in human connection. When I was young and started to play out professionally, it was like people would come together, they would come out, and there would be a lot of energetic reciprocity. People, hey, how you doing, Mark? How you doing, Jessica? Like a lot of connectivity. I mean, there were cell phones back then, but it was a lot. They were a lot less. They were just like these little novelty items, and we all thought they were cool, but we were still like having face-to-face conversations. And then from a performance standpoint, people were given to the band and we were given back. And then, in my training, the relationship dynamics with people that they were sharing with me were a little bit different as well. Like it seemed more connected. And then I think with technology and social media and just pressures from what's going on all over the planet right now, I just have noticed in my coaching the mental and emotional increasing disconnect. And then same with music. People were up there performing and people are they're filming it on their phone, or maybe they're just on their phone, and live music has become like background noise. And I was like, what is happening? And I wonder if this is happening everywhere. And so I struck out to I set out on the planet here to see what other people are doing and how they're engaging with each other in regards to connection and art and cuisine and what makes humans human. You know what I mean?
Well, and what are you seeing? You've been there several months now. Are people's faces in devices in the same way that they are here?
It doesn't seem so. Each of these cultures are so very different. So far, Morocco, Spain, and Thailand, and luckily I've been able to run into people from all over the globe, and we have these deep conversations. And a lot of people want to know about us, and I want to know about them. And there's lots of opinions. So I'm trying not to be biased. I'm just trying to be observant. And in general, it seems like people are a little more present in a lot of different settings. One place I really see a lot more intention and presence is around food, which has been kind of interesting. It's like they take, for us, it seems, food's kind of an afterthought a lot of times. It's just like fuel. You just get it in there in any number of ways. But the time and attention, I was really surprised everywhere so far that there's a lot of time and energy put into sourcing ingredients. And also the places I've been, ingredients are, I guess, just because of the climates, the ingredients are closer, right? So people are they're taking time to go to the markets. They're grabbing fresh fruits and vegetables. The protein didn't grow too far, was raised close. And then, so you're spending time to go there and shop, and it's like a little bit of a social thing. And then you go back and spend a lot of time preparing. And then the meal is like an event. Every meal is like an event, People sit around and they communicate. And it's kind of like how I was raised. Very similarly, my mom, we had a big garden, and my mom cooked, and sit-down meals were a big deal. So that's been one thing that's been really wild.
That's great. Well, so Jessica, you're also in a far off land of Christian County, Missouri. And so working with people as a coach, are you seeing, do you have a similar experience that Justin had where over time he's seen the challenge as a musician that people are disconnecting and that there's a phone between him and an audience? Where are you, what's is this something that comes up in your executive coaching?
Yeah, for sure. And while I'm in Christian County now, I do have some international travel under my belt. So,
Ooh.
Justin made a good point about the food. And when I moved here from Scotland, when I was around 13. We went to the grocery store and there was boxed cake mixes, and I didn't know you could buy a cake box, like a mix to make a cake. I had learned from scratch. And
Wow.
so that was a lot of our culture was around Sunday dinner, Sunday lunch, the ingredients. And perhaps that was because it's an import island, over in Scotland, they would get a lot of imports. So a lot of it's just like, let's make it from scratch. Perhaps that was part of it, but it's just interesting how much we do things differently here in America. It's not only is our culture fast paced, but the way we access food and the way we eat our meals and the drive through lines. And as far as the human connection, I don't have the statistic, but it's a pretty nominal statistic. I want to say maybe in the area of 10% of people touch their electronics before they touch a human being in the morning.
Wow.
So, we have
Sad.
developed relationships with our devices. The parenting experience is done behind a screen now. I want to video my child doing it for documentation's sake versus
Mm,
experiencing my child do it. So we do see that a lot in the educational space, and there's a lot of research now. We went putting a pendulum swing to one-to-one technology was really important, and making sure that our kids were equipped for the tech future. And now we're seeing that it's actually lowering in some spaces test scores and performance. And I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole, but there is adjustments being made, standardized testing now in some spaces because the attention span has reduced for children. So it's just interesting to see our culture shifting around technology. So I very much do see that disconnection between learning to have eye contact versus looking at your phone and then looking back, and the shortened duration of the ability to do eye contact and a whole host of things.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so Justin, you got increasingly frustrated by and perhaps even disillusioned some with your career and not making the connection that you had hoped to make or used to make, and you made this decision that you were going to pack everything, or sell everything and make a small pack and go across the planet, right?
Yeah.
Um, what, how, how did you prepare for that? It's one thing to start to come up with lists. You're a list guy. You're a logistics guy. You'll get AI and probably ask AI, how does one um, go, how does one pack it in and go across the world, right? But how did you emotionally prepare for this? Because you're X-year old, right? You're,
Thank
I
you,
don't want to
sir.
give it away, folks, but
X.
yeah, your ex. How did you prepare for it? Like how much time did it take to get to getting on a plane, and what
Oh
happened
man.
within that time?
Oh man. Well, you guys know me. I try to optimize everything, and I try to go in like ducks in a row style.
Yeah.
And so I nerded out is about as hard as you can nerd out. I mean, first step is like selling as much as you can, and then I moved in with my mother for the first time since I was 18. God bless her soul. And then I brought a whole bunch of crap with me still and filled up her garage. And then we had a garage sale. And so there's kind of like multiple things going on. First you're trying to like figure out all the tech side of it. Like, how do I communicate in places that maybe do or don't have connectivity?
Right.
How do you navigate, trains, planes, and automobiles and lodging? And what do I actually take, and what climates am I going to? I mean, I have this 45-liter backpack, and then another, like a small thing for my laptop and stuff. And, I can fit so many pairs of socks, so many pairs of underwear, pants, shirts. And, like when I left Spain, it was kind of cold, and I had to sell off some stuff that I couldn't fit in my pack. So you're like thinking about all this in advance. And I was like all teched out, at first. But then you're navigating like the tech side and the logistics of selling, moving temporarily until you go, and all these different things. But then you're having these these emotional conversations with like friends and family, because you don't know when. Well, I didn't. I'm like giving myself a one-way ticket. I'm not coming back until I feel like I need to. I don't want any. I don't want to fail safe, right? And so then I'm like, having these emotional conversations with like, I'm going to these crazy places and I don't know what it's like there at these places, and nobody really knows, right? So there's a fear component. There's the unknown fear, and then I'm hugging my mom and my sisters and brother and friends, like, hey man, see you, see you when I see you, kind of style, and I'm kind of getting emotional now because it's like, because still navigating through those relationships from a distance, and sometimes it's a lonely a deal out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Well, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing the vulnerability. I've done some wild adventures myself. I've been alone. And but I don't think I've not been alone in Turkey or in Thailand. So not I've been able to jump on a plane and be probably anywhere I needed to be within an hour or two, or at the furthest. So uh, painful, painful. Yeah, Jessica, with your travel and with your friendship with your relationship with Justin, you guys have been friends for 10 years. What was it like for you preparing to the best that you could, sharing your story, what it was like to travel internationally, live internationally, but also to say goodbye to a friend? What was it like for you?
It's interesting. We also kind of hatched this plan to launch our big idea. So there was some level of like, I'm not really saying goodbye. I'm just saying see you later, and that we made a plan to stay connected. But when I hear Justin talking about that, I can't help but think of how many people still feel lonely in a crowded room.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you are physically alone, emotionally feel that loneliness, but loneliness is an emotion I think that we all have in common. We all share that. There are people that feel lonely in a crowded room surrounded by people because they don't feel like anybody really knows who they are, right? They're disconnected from their self, they're disconnected from each other in a way, and they don't know how to bridge the gap. And so when he told me that he was wanting to go study how to reconnect and he had the reconnection project, I was just so excited to
Champion that.
champion that, because he does have such a heart for others. And I think that's the thing that's going to unite us as we become brave enough to tell the truth about what we all share and stop looking at what divides us and stop comparing our circumstances. We all know what it's like to feel lonely, and that's the thing that bonds us. The circumstances will be different, but I think we can all remember a time where we felt lonely, whether we were alone or we felt lonely. That's what brings us all together, and being brave enough to share that. So I just really appreciate your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, me personally, I didn't think much of it. I,
Well,
truthfully,
thanks, man.
to this extent, it was kind of like the same way I felt when I became an empty nester. When I sent my children off to college, I was very, I was very glad to see them go. I was very, I let me finish. I was very proud of them, and I felt like they were very prepared to go on their journey. And I felt like to some extent it would be selfish for me to hold them back with my emotion. So and of course I would miss them. Of course I love them, but I was also so excited for them. And that's how I felt for you. I felt extremely excited. I felt honored and proud that I was the last one to see you in the States. I was the one who put you on the plane in Dallas. But what I didn't expect, what has happened for me, is that my first point of my first way that I like to connect with people is face to face. I like FaceTime. I like to be in the presence of people. Second to that is a phone call. And then there's texting, those other things, but those really don't do it for me. And for you and I, Justin, we were in a pretty good rhythm where we were seeing each other once every week or two, connecting in that way, and certainly talking 2 or 3 times a week at least. At least. And that's not been the case since you've been away. And it's mostly been because of time zone differences and travel and various things. And so I didn't expect this. I miss you. You know, I miss seeing you. I miss being with you. I miss, I'm a hugger. So I miss when I miss when I see people. I usually greet them with a hug and I say goodbye with a hug. And so just that intimacy I miss. And so I'm lonely too, Justin. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
We miss you, but we love you and we're so excited for you.
I miss you, and yeah,
I miss you. I miss you too, brother. I miss you too, man.
But
yeah, you're gonna get a big hug. You're gonna get a big hug and a bro kiss, dude. When I get
better.
back.
I better.
Yeah.
And it better be not
Are you
anytime
coming to
soon.
Reno with us?
Oh yeah. I'm going to see you in Reno. Justin, when did the reality of your decision really hit you? When did it really hit you? Because it seemed like it was hitting you a month out from my point of view. But how about you? From the moment you decided, or what?
I kind of touched on this, I think, in episode 1 or 2. But the short answer is it continues to hit me at different times. But the reality is, like, things happen and you're like, okay, I'm not in Kansas anymore, or, Missouri, obviously. The Wizard of Oz reference there, aging myself a bit. But man, it was definitely that first night I got in Morocco, and it just, being in a new place and not my home and no home to return to. And it was me and the stuff I own in this backpack, and it was interesting how, even though I consider myself a minimalist, it was interesting how attached to material things I was for like some kind of like warm, fuzzy comfort situation. Like something as simple as having more than one pair of shoes. Like, when it's like there's a second of like feeling sorry for yourself. Like, oh, this is all I have in the world. Poor me. And then I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You're in Morocco, bro. Don't be like that. You know what I mean? Like everything you worked for, you're here. And, but it was just sobering. And it's like anytime you go on a vacation at first, it's like, where do I put my stuff? Where do I unpack? You want to try to unpack the best you can to like make it feel like home, quote unquote. And so I'm constantly figuring out ways to make places feel more homey. But yeah, and then it's constant, man. When I arrive to a new place, I get shell shocked again, and I'm like, yeah, you're out here, bro.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said that when you go somewhere, you want to like unpack. And I just had a moment. I was like, I pretty much live like a raccoon when I go on vacation. So chaos everywhere, like living out of the suitcase. I don't unpack. Do you unpack, Mark, when you go somewhere?
It's funny. I usually do not. But I just got back from New Orleans, and I took all my stuff out of my suitcase and put them in the various drawers of the bureau and
at the hotel.
At the hotel, and I usually don't do that. I'm usually I like to just have it all self-contained, in case I have to get out in a fire or something, and I want to be able to drag all my stuff with me. But
we did that this last time when we went to Vegas. We unpacked and put things places, but it was mostly because I wanted to hang up the outfits that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, who are we? We're unpacking our suitcase at the place.
Yes.
And then I got home and I unpacked when I got home. I was like, I don't even know who this person is. But yes, I very much, I understand. It's like, you have to get your feet like grounded. Like, what's going to anchor me while I'm here?
Yeah.
Jessica is a grief counselor. As someone who has typically, you have hacks for everything. What would be your advice to Justin and how to mitigate some of that, perhaps the loneliness that comes, or just when it hits you, when it hits you like, oh, I really, I have what's on my back and an extra pair of underwear in my bag. Um, what would you say to Justin that could make him feel like he's full and he's got everything he needs, you know?
Well, uh, to unpack that, the very short version of that
Yeah.
is I would really encourage someone to stop. So there's like a few myths that pretty much run our culture for how to cope with and deal with loss, which loss is a change in a pattern of behavior, change in circumstances. So it's generally speaking, anytime we experience change, there's potential that the loss could impact us on an emotional level. And one of those myths is that we replace the loss. I'm not going to go through them all, but the two that I'm thinking of specifically are grieving alone and replacing the loss. And maybe this third one is don't feel bad. So this negotiation starts happening when we experience loss, and we start saying, well, I should be grateful. I should be grateful. I should be happy. Or I'm in Morocco. And it's not that we want to be given over to the negativity, but we have a toxic positivity culture that tries to reframe everything to the positive extreme. So we say things like good vibes only, et cetera, and or fake it till you make it. And we're losing that authenticity that in fact connects us and brings us all closer together. So it can be the power of I feel lonely and I'm excited for my new adventure. The duality of the experience for you is what you get to embrace. It's not going to be either or. I'm either going to feel like I'm home or I'm going to feel like I'm an alien. There can be an and. I can feel uncomfortable and I can still find some things to anchor me. And not trying to make that either or exist for you, and not to replace your loss with other feelings to try to make yourself feel better or argue with the right to feel bad. It's okay to feel sad and happy and grateful at the same time. You don't have to just pick one thing. So embracing I guess, would be my best advice to you on your journey, is when you do feel sad, what's the and?
And folks, this is why I have Jessica on speed dial.
And me too.
I'm really curious. I have a follow-up question to that, if you will. Yeah. You've experienced a lot of you wanted to see what connects people to each other. And I'm curious, like, has the way that you feel connected to yourself been affected? Have you found a loss of identity has accompanied you on your journey that you weren't expecting? Or do you feel like you've been able to stay grounded in who you are and whose you are, for a lack of a better phrase?
Man. Well, no, I think it's really important because for the listeners, I had a really pivotal moment, at a really low moment a couple of days ago, and I sort of 911'd Mark and Jessica because I was really hitting a wall, and I'm a little over 100 days. I think today's 110 days. And and I thought this was about other people, and it is, and I thought I was comfortable in my own skin. I've done all these years of like introspective work and self-development, or so I thought. And the first chunk of the trip, I was just alone all the time, and walking places alone, trying to navigate language barriers. So you don't really have like anyone to hug or at first you're a stranger, right? And that human connection, there was not like that physical human connection. There was not the communication side of it. So I was with myself, and I'm with myself a lot, and things are really coming up hardcore, things I haven't dealt with. And I of course, the optimization side tries to come out. So I nerd out super hard on like ChatGPT to psychoanalyze it. And ChatGPT is like, well, you're in what's called the liminal phase, which is, I guess, where you're like, you jump out of all of the knowns that anchor you, and then you basically jump out of the plane, and then you're like, okay, well, yeah, who am I? I mean, my moral and ethical compasses are grounded and they're the same. My core values and all that are the same. But like, who the hell is this guy that's out here traveling the world, that's meeting people and stuff? And it's going like, what are these emotions coming up that I didn't know that I had to deal with, right? And I'm a bandwidth guy, so I'm like, yeah, let's get rid of that. But then what is it? So it's I don't know, man. I'm still in the throes of this thing.
Well, Justin, so what are you doing? What are the tools that you are using in those moments? What brings you back? What's what's your North Star? What is the thing that you know you can go to that gets you grounded? I think I know. Is it working out? Study? Is it throwing some weights around?
Yes, that has been my go-to in the past, but that's been taken away a little bit because it's just so hard to find places to go all the time. And so I have to, like, we have these routines, and this is how I like to do this. And, and it's like these habitual patterns. And for me, it's go to the gym and it's do these movements, and that's not, I just haven't had that as consistently. So, man, I always go back. I have to go back to the most basics, which is food, water, and movement. Like I'm like, okay, my physiology I have to figure out a way to calm my physiology. So I need to be hydrated. I need to eat food. I need to go on a walk, even if I can't like pound the weights or I haven't played drums hardly. So yeah, man, it's basic stuff. It's basic stuff.
Sleep.
Stuff that I teach, but yeah,
getting
man,
good night's sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying. I'm getting in a pretty decent groove, but like my nervous system is just. I've kind of phoned Jessica on this a couple of times. It's just like you're in a constant state, since you're in constant novelty, which is really exciting, but like everything's new and the environment may actually technically be safe. And in a lot of these places, it is technically, statistically more safe than the US. And so, but you're still like, what your brain's like, what are these new languages? What are these new noises? What's that over there? I'm in the jungle right now on this island, right?
Right.
And you're walking like back to your place at night. You're like, whoa, dude, what was that noise? I've never heard that sound before. I'm like, it's Jurassic Park type stuff going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's birds doing stuff that I've never, heard, and things rustling in the forest, and
it's a different. They're speaking a different language, Justin. They're birds, but they're Thailand birds.
Yes, exactly. Right? I thought about that. Like I went to this. This is really cool. I went to this elephant reserve, and I was like, and these guys are speaking the Thai language of the elephants, telling them it's time to eat or it's time to go drink water. I'm like, isn't that interesting? That elephant knows Thai better than I do.
What a wonderful observation. I've never.
Yeah, and like people are shouting, things to their cats and dogs, like in Thai, and I'm like, oh yeah, well that dog. What would that dog do in America? Would he be okay? Would he feel like me?
and barks in Thai.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to have a different perspective when I go up to dogs in different countries. Be like, bro, I get you, man. I get you. You don't understand me. I don't understand you. We're cool. Right.
Oh, that is brilliant. I love that.
So good.
Well, hey, let's. I have a final question for you, and I want to hear from both you and Jessica on this. To you, Justin, specifically, what are the lessons that you've learned? What are you going to send? What are you sending back to us and our listeners about when you're journeying? And this could be a physical journey. You're on a journey on the other side of the planet, but we're all on a journey. What's the lessons for all of us when we get stuck, when we feel lonely, when and how would you summarize kind of what you're learning and are you prepared to keep going? You know, you're lonely and you're going to keep going, right?
Yeah.
You're burned out. You're scared. You know, on and on. What are some of the lessons you've learned?
I I realize that everything that I do and have done for a lot of my life is in an attempt to increase the level of freedom that I have in my life, the emotional work that I do, the physical work, and I see the value in how important the small things are. I don't know why as a race, and it's not American thing, it's everywhere, but we take for granted and discount the most basic stuff that is sustains us, which gives us freedom,
Mm.
sovereignty as humans to be able to feel good and think good, and be happy. And man, there are things that I've practiced for years, like biohacker style. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the cool trendy thing, like fasting. Dude, if I did not know how to fast, okay, I would be in bad shape on this, because maybe your transportation takes 24 hours instead of 12, and maybe you're stuck places where there's nothing but a pack of Doritos, and like you're like, nah, or don't, like, so it's basic stuff, man. Like how to fast, how to regulate your nervous system in crazy situations, how to you be able to, like yesterday I was at this beautiful place, but there was no place to sit down. I was at the top of the island at this restaurant, and it was a simple little spot, but you just sit Chinese style on a wood floor. And I was like, I'm pretty flexible, but I was like, this is kind of uncomfortable. But if I didn't like work out and do yoga and things like that, like this would suck. Actually, it would kind of ruin my experience.
Right.
Mm.
So I think it's just like we got to somehow remember to mind the basics, man.
Yeah. Jessica, what question or what comment would you have for Justin?
What I really want to know is if you were stuck, Mark, in 24-hour travel, would you eat the donut and the Dorito, or would you stop?
Well, um, what an apropos question. This just happened in the past 48 hours. So
Oh,
I was in New Orleans, Nolans, as they say, and where there was sunshine when you guys were getting snowed upon. And but the hang up for me was I wasn't able to come back when I was scheduled to come back. I would be driving either into the storm or I'd be driving into potentially icy roads after the storm. So I waited until Monday, and sure enough, we hit ice, and it slowed us up. And I had a passenger that I didn't have going down. Sonia, who's on the team, flew down and she couldn't fly home, so she had to jump in the wagon with me, and off we went. And we on Tuesday, when we were doing the second leg from Memphis home, we couldn't find any place that was open, and so we ended up at a donut shop. And I haven't been eating sugar. I have not been eating starch and bread and
Yeah.
anything, but I was ravaged. I was getting hungry. I and I was getting hangry. Why isn't any place open? I was so disgusted by people not being open for me, like decent healthy places. So what did I had an apple fritter, and I had like a bacon, egg, and cheese on a croissant. It couldn't have been more greasy, and and
yes.
it was a brick in my belly. So what would I do? I would survive, baby. I'll eat somebody's leg if I have to. I'll be
Man, I'm not going on any long trips over the
I
mountains with you, dude.
not one of
So good.
yeah, it
Wow.
was, you know, it was as close as I got to Justin's experience, because it took 10 hours from New Orleans to Memphis, which is a 6-hour drive. and we rolled in. We were tired. It was exhausting, and I kept my spirits up. I mean, overall, I was like, I'm good, I'm okay, but it was tiring. It was stressful driving on the ice, and all of that. But you
Yeah.
get through. I was determined to get through. I had a passenger. I had to take care of her. I had people at home that needed to see me. I wasn't ready to go. So,
Yeah.
and frankly, the truth is, I was I was enjoying the journey. I was really enjoying being outside of my comfort zone. Honestly, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had that sort of adventure in a
Yeah.
long time.
Mhm.
I live a fairly easy life.
Mhm.
It's absolutely a 100% uh, first world life that I experience. So if I'm going to get adventure, I have to seek it out. And in this case, it was presented to me, and so I channeled my Justin Gabasi, and I got through. But and I ate a donut, and I ate an apple fritter, and damn it, I liked it.
Unapologetically, life is too short not to enjoy it.
Exactly. Hey,
Yeah.
Justin, give us your final thoughts. Just tell us the true assets in life. Tell us what do we need to know?
If I could leave, if I could leave everyone with this, this has been shown to me so clearly, and that is that we only have two things. We have our health and we have time, and those are the most valuable assets. I know we have to have money. We have to survive. It's the way the system's built right now. But money's going to come and go. Uh, but where I would advise people to put all their attention and their focus is how they're spending those two assets, how they're
Mm.
treating their health and utilizing it, and how they're spending their time. Man, it's these are the cultures have reinforced that to me as well, because they're less consumer focused in some cases. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, some of these places, their monthly net is 400 USD. You know what I mean? A month, like in Morocco, for example. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
health and time, man. How are you utilizing those and spending those?
Mm.
Good stuff, Justin. Good stuff. Good reminder. Um, and you're right. I endorse that. Um, hey, folks. I'm Mark here with Jessica and Justin. We are the Big Ideas Podcast. If you're curious, like we're curious, come be curious with us. Uh, keep following us on this journey. We're having a good time doing it. We're hoping that you're being entertained by what we're putting out here, and you're having a good time, and we can have some laughs together and learn a little bit together. But come on back.